My name is Bill Greenleaf. I'm representing Vision Service Plan. And I want to make sure that everybody has a brochure. Looks like this. Everybody have one of these? Okay. When I have concluded the presentation, you may go to that box over there to your left, to my right, and in there are some eyeglass repair kits. Take as many as you want. We got a ton of them, okay? And let me start out by simply kind of going through the brochure. On the front page of the brochure, the important point that I do want to mention is that you have your website at the bottom, okay? Tennessee Board of Regents Vision.com. Now you can go to that website and you can find out everything that I'm going to cover today with you, okay? Everything will be on that website. Later on, as I get into the brochure further, I will show you how to select a eye doctor, optometrist, ophthalmologist from the network. So let's turn the page, and we have at the top VSP Vision Benefit. Who is VSP? Okay? VSP stands for Vision Service Plan. We are a national provider of eye care, equipment, and examinations to all of our employee members. We're the largest provider of this type of benefit in the country. And because of our size, we have the ability to bring discounts through the doctor's office, optometrist, ophthalmologist, and pass deep discounts onto you, the member. It's like a preferred provider organization, PPO, whereby you have volume discounts because of the amount of patients going in to see a practitioner. Now, this plan will start January 1, and the first deduction, if you plan to participate, the first payroll deduction will start with the last payday in January. Okay? January 1, payroll deduction, last payday in January. Now, on this page here, you have this block that says Save with Vsp Coverage. And I'm not going to go through and, cover each one of these, but I think one of the most important ones there is the first one. It says eye exam. Now, an eye exam is going to run, a complete eye exam will run somewhere between $140, $160. Through the VSP plan, the gold plan, you have a $10 copay. In other words, you just pay the $10. On the other plan, which is called the bronze plan, which is a little less richer, it's actually no copay. It happens to be a richer benefit as far as examinations are concerned. But with the bronze plan, no copay. With the gold plan, a $10 copay. And then you can see some of the other comparisons there, reflecting lenses and employee contributions. Now, I think one of the nice things about Vision Service Plan is that you do not need a ID card, okay? How many times have you gone to the doctor's office and fumbled in your purse or pulled out your wallet looking for your ID card, okay? With VSP, you don't even know that. You just check in, the information's in their system, in their computer system. Now, you also notice where it says, find an eye care provider who's right for you. You have two places you can go for that. You can go to the VSP website /choice or call that 877-800 number. That's our member service number. You can always contact that number 24/7 okay? And talk to a live person and get the information that you need. You probably will not have to do that to select a doctor from the network. You can go right onto the website and, you know, you're going to select somebody that you probably know, heard of, or is nearby where you reside, and select that doctor, okay, as your provider for your eye care. Also on that website, you can review your benefit information. And as I said earlier, no ID card necessary at the appointment. Just go in and tell your provider, your doctor, that you have VSP. Now, if you want to turn the page, and this page at the top says your VSP Vision Benefit Summary. Now, you can see there's two plans. The bronze plan, which we'll call a starter plan or a test plan, and you'll see under exam services, thorough well vision exam covered in full, no copayment. Obviously, that's an enticement for somebody to come into that plan where the costs are considerably less and they come in to get the free examination. And you go down and look at the other benefits. But the plan that I really want to concentrate on is what we call the gold plan, okay? And with the gold plan, you'll see that you have a lot more coverages and relatively smaller copays. The premium's a little bit higher, but that's only because you're getting more coverage. So let's go through the gold plan. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the exam itself. Now, I'm a person, when I do a talk like this, I like to roam around the stage, okay? But I can't do that now because I got to talk into this microphone. And you're going to say, well, the microphone comes off and I can talk like this. So that's what I'm going to try to do. But this is kind of hard doing it this way when you got to turn pages, okay? So anyhow, is this better or worse? Was it better before? Same? Same? Okay. All right. Let me try to do it this. I can do it this way in this page anyways. Okay, for exam services. Why do we go to an eye doctor for an exam? Okay? Normal situation is that, you know, you go through life, your early stages of life, you've got great eyesight, 20/20, everything's just fine. You don't even think about your eyes, okay? You really don't, unless you have some type of congenital problem or you have very, very poor vision. But normally speaking, people, you know, if you've got decent, good vision, you don't think about your eyes. But let me tell you something. Did you know that 80% of what we learn or what we know comes through our vision? That makes sense, doesn't it? 80% comes, because that's what you see, that's what you learn. If you're a reader, obviously that's very, very important. So eyes are very important. And if you are a person that you feel, gee, I've got normal vision, I don't have to see an eye doctor, think about it. Think about it a couple of times. If you have a eye examination, a lot about your health condition can be determined from that examination, such as diabetes. Diabetes can be determined from an eye examination. And other eye conditions, such as glaucoma, macular degeneration, things of that nature. So that eye examination is very, very important. How often should you have an exam? Once a year. But if you happen to miss it, try to do one at least once every 2 years. Now, once you select your provider, your doctor, you set up the eye exam, make your appointment, go in, and you don't need the ID card. You just tell them who you are. You're with Vision Service Plan, and copay, they'll have that information there, is $10. Now, in addition to that, you could possibly have a contact lens exam. That's the next block down. Contact lens exam. Fitting and evaluation. Is covered in full with a copay not to exceed $60 for all contact lens wearers. So that's your exam services for eye care and contacts. Now let's drop down to the next subject, and this is basic lenses. Basic lenses is shown here: glass, plastic, single vision, lined bifocal, lined trifocal, lenticular. These lenses would have a copay of $15, paid in full with a $15 copay. Now, if you want to get to more exotic type of lenses, such as progressives, anti-reflective, and I'm not saying they're really exotic. I mean, in many cases, it's very good to have that, particularly the anti-reflective, because if you're driving at night, if you have a glare problem, that's going to take that away. Polycarbonate, scratch resistant. The dollar amount shown there, that is up to what you may pay. So if you had anti-reflective, you could possibly pay up to as much as $43, but no more than that. Scratch resistant, no more than $17. Now when you look at, a pair of glasses, there's not a lot of moving parts, correct? You got, the only thing that moves is the frame, basically. So it's pretty simple. You've got lenses and you've got frames. Now the frame situation, typically frames will always cost more than the lenses. And you can get any type of design of frame that you want, okay? I personally have never figured out why frames cost so much, other than perhaps it's the name of the person that designed the frame, and that's what we're paying that person for. Now, frames are covered in full. Right here, frames are covered in full up to the retail allowance of $130. So that means that you're going to get $130. Now, typically frames will cost you, somewhere around $200, $225, $250, something like that. If you go to, designer type frame. So you're going to get $130, but in addition to that, you're going to get a 20% discount over and above the $130. So you're really only paying 80%. Now, contact lenses, that's the next subject going down after frames. It says under the gold plan, instead of eyeglasses, elective contact lens materials are covered up to $130 toward any type of prescription contact lens. I don't know offhand what contact lenses cost in this neighborhood or area, but typically you're looking at $300 to $400 for that type of situation. Now, if you go down below, in the bold print, you see what the premiums are for employee only, employee and spouse, employee and children, and employee and family. Now, if you want to do the math, you can see that the family coverage is $27.74. And let's assume we have 4 people in the family, okay, 2 children. Husband, wife, 2 children. So $27.74 times 12 works out to be about $325 in round numbers. If each one of those family members went out to get an eye exam, it would be in the neighborhood of $150. Times 4, okay, is what? So 150 times 4 is $600. So right away, you'd be saving the difference between $600 and $325, okay? So that would be approximately what? $275? Just doing the math on that basis. So if this is something that appeals to you, it's of interest to you, go to the website. Again, it's shown right on the bottom of that page, tbrvision.com. You can get more information, and then let's go to the next page. Now, enrollment. At the top of the page it says all you have to do to enroll in the VSP Vision Plan is to visit the website and follow the quick and easy enrollment process. And then below that, in bold print, it says to locate a VSP provider, you go to the VSP website. Enter the search information, click search, and sign up for that provider. Now you'll see that the enrollment period will end November 18th, and you have the two resources of the Tennessee Board of Regents Vision website, as well as the VSP website to select your provider. Now that took approximately 20 minutes. A little bit less than this morning by about 2 minutes, but that's good. Now, anybody have any questions? We had a lot of questions this morning. About 3. Yes, sir. Oh, good point. You must have come in late. I'm just kidding you. January 1. Okay, and then the first payroll deduction is the last payday in January. Okay? Yes. What is a Prism lens? I've never heard of that. Oh, okay. You know, I can't answer that offhand. That's a question that you could probably would be best calling our member services department. Yeah. There must be expensive lenses. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. Yes. Aha. You know what? I didn't know what that was either until I looked it up on the web. What that is, apparently, according to what I read, is that some people have an eye condition that when they look through a lens, things become blurry. So the ventricular eliminates that from happening. So now we know. We learned something, right? Yeah. You mean just a plain old lens? Oh, those are progressives, yeah, right, yeah. The 55 is up to 55, but we can assume it's 55. So how much does that come to? $115 in copays? Okay, so add 25 to that, up to 140. Okay. So the total, if you had took all the services at one time, did the examination, did the lenses, the frames, of course it would depend upon, you know, how much the frames cost, but, you know, they're in the neighborhood of $200, $225. You could be out of pocket as much as $150 at the most, okay? It's probably going to be $125, $130 plus your premium. Yes? That's a good question. Can you get a discount for glasses and contacts at the same time? You can get a discount for contacts and glasses in a particular service period. And what do I mean by that? The service period is on a calendar year basis. so that one year you could do your glasses and the next year you'd have to do your contact lenses. Now, don't forget, when the AFLAC people get through, we have the handout of the glass repair kit. And I'm serious when I say take as many as you want, because I got a ton of them. Sometimes I can't even get rid of them. I got 2 boxes in my car. Okay, thank you. Another question? Yes. Right. Now, what are you looking at? Oh, you've got a computer in your lap there. There's no ophthalmologist in this area? But you're going to one now? That apparently is not in the network, right? No, that's a good point. And what we'll do is that I will make a note of that. And if there's no, you're saying in the network itself, there's no ophthalmologist? Okay. Okay, we'll make an effort then to look into that and see if we can't get one in the network. No, I'm sure you're not. I'm sure there's a lot of, others like you. Okay, anything else? All right, let me turn it over to our friends from AFLAC, and they're going to talk to you about their program. I'm going to hang around until they're done if you have any more questions.
Thanks, Bill. Does everyone have a packet? Wonderful. Y'all had lunch, right? Don't be sitting back here going to sleep. Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Smith. Over to my left, I have Les Foster and Mr. Ron Schoenhart. Let me first start, actually, if you would. Yeah, we are here. Couple things. Who in here currently has an AFLAC cancer or intensive care policy? All right. When we are done with this today, I need you to see Mr. Ron Schoenhart. Okay? Because what we're going to do is those policies will be rolled over to an individual direct basis. They will not be no longer payroll deducted. So we need to go over there. You need to see them for the options that you have available for how you want to continue that. And if you want to continue that, if you want to convert it or stuff, convert the policy to one of the newer policies or leave it as you have it currently. So that's one of the things we need to set you up with that. Okay? Yeah, it's called Tennessee Board of Regents. So yeah, that was one of our first questions is like, and they said nope. So all current policies go away. What we're going to do, if you would please, we'll get into that in a second too. There's going to be 5 new policies that are being rolled out, and that's what we're up here to talk about today. And some of them might be to the beneficial to you as to possibly replace it. Some of them not. You want to keep what you have, but that's something we'll go through there or add to. And these ones that we're adding to, they will be payroll deducted for you guys. All right. Little background. Les Foster's been with AFLAC for 29 years. Ron's been with AFLAC for 20 years, and I've been in AFLAC for 10 years. So almost 60 years cumulative between the two of us, so we kind of know what we're talking about some days. Some days. It is Wednesday, right? That's not our day to be knowing what we're talking about then. Okay, so a couple of things first. All the policies that I'm going to go over today, or Les and I will go over with you today, they belong to you. You own the policies, which means if you ever leave here, retire, go work somewhere else, you can take that policy with you at the same payroll rate you're offered today. AFLAC will not single you out for a rate increase or to terminate your policy. Once you buy it, that's it. It's yours. I had a woman come into my office. This is about 5, 6 years ago. One was 80 years old, around that age, and I'm looking at her thinking, there ain't nothing I can do here. I said, can I help you? She goes, I've got a cancer policy. I need to move from one bank account to another. I said, I can do that. She hands me the paperwork, and I look at it and I said, when did you buy this policy? She goes, oh gosh, we retired over 25 years ago. We had it way before then. This policy was over 30 years old. And not once did we ever go back and jack the rate up on that policy. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, let's take this into context. That policy was 30 years old. It's like a 30-year-old car. You know, we're talking crank down windows, AM radio. We're talking old. So it wouldn't have the same benefits as the policy that has now. But we're not going to go back just because you got older and raise your rate, or because you reached a certain age that we're going to cancel it. So once you have that policy, it is absolutely yours. That's one of the strengths of AFLAC. Go ahead, please. Okay. Introduce next one, please. And there we go. We've covered that too. Look at that. 5 total products. The guaranteed portable, you can take them with you, and we do not coordinate benefits. What's that mean? Your major medical, always understand your major medical does 2 things and 2 things. Hopefully it does it very well, but that's always subject to everyone's interpretation. Your major medical pays the hospital and it pays the doctor, right? Okay? All AFLAC policies pay cash benefit directly to you. So we do not care what your major medical does or does not do. We're not even going to ask you. We're going to ask you what happened. And then we're going to fill out a claim form, send it down to AFLAC, and AFLAC's going to process that claim typically within 4 days, and you're going to have a check within 7 to 10 days. And they're going to send it to you. You can take that money and do with it whatever you want to, co-payment, deductible, but typically it's mortgage, rent, car payment, groceries, electric bill, go to dinner with it. I don't care, it's your money. You use it as you seem fit. But we understand that the best health insurance in the world is never going to pay your electric bill. And we all go like this. Okay? Next one, please. Your major medical. Yeah, there we go. AFLAC pays benefits to you. Use it as you want. Next one, please. Co-payments, deductibles. Loss of income. Typically, when we talk about loss of income, first thing that runs through people's minds is a disability policy. Okay. But also you have, if you're in the hospital or if you lost a day's worth of work, a lot of times if you just lost that day, the disability policy isn't going to be active, or you're not going to be out of work long enough for that disability policy to kick in. So you have a confliction here. So employee, spouse, time off with children, something like that, your kid gets hurt and you have to take them to the hospital or take them to urgent care, and you now lost a day's worth of work. How do you get that back? Well, you don't. Day's gone. That's it. So with the AFLAC, they're going to say, here's your money, and at least hopefully that will cover your off day and or even more, depending on the incident as to what happened. And we figure there's a couple of ways that you can find that money. How will you get it? Number one, savings. Most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 70% of Americans can live about a month before they have depleted their savings account, so that's not a real big option. The other one, family, they kind of in the same boat. I tell people all the time, my dad would say, yeah, you can move in, but I promise you he cannot take my bills. He said, you move in, you leave your bills outside, okay? Because that wouldn't happen very well there either. Loan, if you're not working, are you going to get a loan? Is anybody going to give you a loan? Absolutely not, unless it's from Guido. You know about Guido? That loan will cost you an arm and a leg, literally. So we don't want to even do that. Okay, next, please. Can we bring that down just TT? Okay. What we're going to do, Mr. Foster, please. We're going to start covering the policies on that. The first policy we're going to cover on that is the critical illness policy. That's the first one in that packet. And what I'm going to do is let's start with this, and then we're just going to piggyback, and you'll notice there's a little bit different tone between the two of us. I'm like 100 miles an hour, and he's about 45. So it'll help there. Ready?
Ready. Good to see everybody this afternoon. Appreciate you coming out to get this information. First thing I want to say is if you currently have a cancer policy, and this is really important, the group product information we're going to look at means this. You can keep the current policy that you have on a direct bill, but you can still buy this group product. And I'll explain that in just a minute. You can actually have both because the group product covers more than just cancer. It covers other major things that could affect your life. So let's make sure we understand that. Number one, you can still keep your old plan and still buy the new group product. And I'll explain that to you. Let's look at that new group product and kind of get an idea of how this works. This product is different from what you have. You currently have a cancer policy, if you have it now, that pays directly for benefits as you need them. For instance, hospital stay, cancer surgeries, cancer treatments. My mom went through this. She had 43 treatments. She had 6 chemo and 38 radiation. That's a common thing today. And you don't have to go very far today to find folks who have not been affected by cancer. Normally it's right in our own families, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, it's all there. But this policy that we're going to look at is different. It is based on a lump sum benefit, a one-time benefit. It ranges anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000. Now, with this product, and Matt mentioned this, there's a guaranteed issue with this product. The guaranteed issue is $10,000 for the employee and $5,000 for the spouse. Everybody got that now? Now here's what I mean by that. Let's say that I was diagnosed with cancer 3 years ago, okay? And I'd have to answer the health question on the enrollment application. That still does not keep me from buying this policy. I can still buy this policy. The only difference is I'm going to have a 1 year pre-existing on that policy. That's it. After my year's up, if cancer comes back anywhere else in my body, I'm going to receive what I've bought at that time. If that's $10,000, I'm guaranteed $10,000. Everybody understand that? Okay. The spouse, again, is half on their benefit, 5. Now, what that does for us is simply this. Let's say that out of the, and again, what it covers, let's look at that. If you'll pull that brochure out just a minute. Let's pull that brochure out, critical illness. I want to share with you quickly what all of it shares, what it does for you. It's going to have several things in there to protect your family and yourself. You're talking about cancer. That's internal cancer. Now, this is the other difference. The group product we're looking at only covers internal cancer. It does not cover skin cancer. Just keep that in mind. The product that you bought prior to now does cover skin cancer. So the one that you have now, it does cover all types of cancer. But this group product covers all internal cancer. Heart attacks, strokes, major organ transplants, renal failure, carcinoma in situ, bypass surgery. And then you're going to see an insert there that covers other things 100%. Paralysis, coma, loss of sight, severe burns, loss of speech, and loss of hearing. All those things are under the critical illness plan. Okay? And again, the guaranteed issue amount is 10 for you, 5 for the spouse. But you can buy more if you qualify on the 3 questions on the policy. Now, if you currently have a cancer policy now and you decide to keep that policy, the most that you can buy is 10 and 5. You can't buy more than 10 and 5 if you keep your current policy now. Any questions there? Okay. Now let's see how this plan works for us. It has a first occurrence. You'll choose your amount. The first occurrence pays the minute that you're diagnosed with one of those major things that you see there. But the difference in this policy and all the other lump sum policies is simply this. All the other products, once you've been diagnosed and you collect the money, normally that's it. They give you the check, you don't pay for it no more, but you don't have it no more. The problem is simply this. Now you've been diagnosed with something serious, and I can tell you right now, I've done this insurance business 29 years, nobody else is going to touch you with a 10-foot pole because you are sick. You have a serious illness. You've had a heart attack, or you've had a stroke, you've had cancer. You just can't go anywhere else and buy it. That's the problem we have. But this product works different. Once it pays the lump sum benefit, it has what's called an additional benefit. Let's say, let's use me. I'm diagnosed with a heart attack. Oh, okay. Yeah, can you hear me? I'm diagnosed with a heart attack. and I collect my, let's say I've bought $10,000. I collect my $10,000. And 18 months later, or let's say just 8 months later, I'm diagnosed with cancer. 8 months later, guess what? I've got another $10,000 coming because it's a completely different, it's not cancer, it's a heart attack, or it's a stroke. It's different from what I was diagnosed with the first time. Now, if it's the same thing, let's go back to that heart attack. Let's say I have a heart attack and I have another one 18 months later. I'll still get that $10,000 again because the reoccurrence benefit says that once 1 year goes by, it's good again for the same thing. Does everybody understand that now? So if it's the same thing, it's a 1 year wait. If it's something different on the additional, it's only 6 months. That's all. And I can tell you from doing insurance all these years, there's two things in life that are killing us: cancer and heart disease. That is your two killers. You may pass away with something else, but the odds of you using one of those two things in your lifetime is very great today. So keep that in mind. But this plan does not quit on you. It doesn't quit on you. It's there for you. Any questions so far? Because I want to make sure that we fully understand this. Remember, guaranteed issue covers all those things, and it's not a one-time benefit. It keeps on paying. Now, something you should know on this product. At age 70, your benefits will cut in half. So if I've bought $10,000 initially, and now I've turned 70, and you can keep the product. It is portable. It goes with you. But now I turned 70. That product's going to go to $5,000. But I keep that $5,000 the rest of my life. If I've bought $20,000 initially, I'm going to slide back to $10,000. And I get to keep that the rest of my life. Any questions there? Again, it cuts in half at 70. Okay? And you'll see a few things on the bottom there that we don't cover. Now, look at the wellness benefit on that product. It's $75. It's a health screening. And this is really important. We're going to encourage you to do those things because we know if you're doing them, it can save your life and save us a lot of money. So what happens is simply this. If you have ladies, if it's a pap smear or if it's a mammogram, men, it could be a PSA, a colonoscopy. Any one of those that you see on that brochure, if you do it, $75 to you and $75 to your spouse. So you can collect $150 back out of this policy just by doing one of those wellnesses each year. Now, I'm going to give you a little idea. Even though we're going to give you the rates here at the end, I'm going to give you a little idea how much it would really cost you on something like that. I have it here somewhere. If you are 18 to 29, that cost, actually, there's no cost to it. If you do both wellnesses and you do not smoke, you will have that benefit at 10 and 5, and you'll get back $10 more than you paid into it. You can't beat that deal. That's a sweet deal. Let's say that you smoke, 18 to 29. You can have the 10 and the 5. And let me say this too real quickly. Children, because I haven't mentioned children. Children are automatically covered on that plan free. They're covered till they're 26 years of age under your policy, 26 years of age. And that's no matter whether they get married, they still under that plan till 26. Okay? If you smoke and you're 18 to 29, that product costs you $35 a year. If you're 30 to 39 and you're a non-smoker, that policy costs you $134 per year to have the 10 and the 5 and cover all those major things that can affect our life. And remember, it's guaranteed issue. We cannot turn anybody down. And the reason I point that out, I want to make sure you get that, is because this guaranteed issue product is just this time. If you don't buy this product now and you come back and you say, well, I think I'll relook at that again next year. If you come back next year and your health has changed or you've been diagnosed with one of those, we're not going to be able to offer you a guaranteed issue. It's a one-time deal coming in. And I've put this in many companies all over town already. I just put it in the Johnson City Power Board for their 200 folks. Mountain States Health Alliance put in for their 9,000 employees. This product is going in a lot of places, and it is really selling because, again, there's nothing like it. And I'm sorry about my phone ringing. I should have had that turned off. Any questions so far? Gosh, y'all are too quiet. Either I'm doing a good job or I'm going to have to wake you up here in a minute. Something's going on here. Yes. That's right. You just get one benefit for the wellness. You may do 2 or 3 of them in a year, but at least we can get you $75, and of course the spouse can get $75. But once you're getting those benefits back, you will not pay a whole lot for these benefits, but you'll be covered if you need it, and that's really important. Matt's done hit on the things that it affects. Now Matt's going to hit you now with the accident policy. We're going to let you know a little bit about it. Any questions on the critical illness or how it works, what it's designed to do? Okay, Matt, hit that accident policy.
All right, here we go. We're going to speed it back up again because that's just the way I talk. I was meeting with Karen and Mary. They go, "You aren't from around here, are you?" I said, "Mm-mm." No. I've been all over God's green earth, literally. So, and this is where we just decided to call home for a while, or at least for now. On the accident policy, that's the second brochure that's in there. Now, accidents. Typically, when we say accident to somebody, the first thing that kind of runs through your mental mind is, ooh, car crash. Yep, that is an accident. Okay? But literally, this policy covers everything from a chipped tooth to the car crash, anything in between. I tell people, oops, ouch, or wow, that's going to leave a mark. We're covering it pretty much. So if those things fall into the place, that's good to go. Now, how this happens is just for seeking medical treatment for the accident, you don't have to go to the emergency room. It can be an urgent care, express care, outpatient care. I tell people, I don't care, really, just as long as the doctor looks at it. So just going up there and showing the doctor what you have done to yourself, we're going to pay you and everybody that's on the policy or covered under the policy $125. So it might be one of those embarrassing accidents, but at least it's worth $125 to you, okay? Then, when you look at this, the more severe the accident, the more money we're going to pay to you. So if you're actually confined in the hospital due to that accident, AFLAC's paying you $1,000. $200 for every day you're in there, and an additional $400 if it was in the intensive care. So let's go back to our car accident. If it was a bad car accident and actually put you in an intensive care unit, AFLAC's paying you $1,000 plus $200 plus $400 and $125 just for wheeling you in there on the first day. So you can start thinking to yourself, okay. On that also, you have your dismemberment policy. So if you're losing any of those limbs, which we don't encourage by no means, and it breaks it down on the major injuries. I literally can sit here for hours and tell you stories, and Les could probably do the same as well as Ron, about this accident policy and the claims we've paid over years. I got to tell you a story because they're always funny. Woman calls me up, it's about 4 or 5 years ago, and she says, "Matt, is my accident policy still in force?" So I looked it up on the computer, said, "Yeah, it's why." Got to ask why, because she's got a question for it. "Well, the kids over the 4th of July weekend were out playing in the yard, and my nephews decided to chase my son around the yard with a Roman candle." I was thinking, this is going to be interesting. Yeah, and that Roman candle hit him in the tennis shoe and sock and set that thing on fire. It was not interesting, okay? Caused that kid 3rd-degree burns around his ankle and foot. He spent the next 6 days at Shands in Gainesville, Florida at the burn unit. $6,000 later, after I paid this claim out, she's a very happy woman with a son with a neat little scar he's going to have for a long, long time. Accidents are accidents. They're not called on purposes. Y'all get that, right? I didn't on purposely hurt myself. It was an accident. This is what it's covering for you, okay? Now, any questions on that? It's real simple. Oops, ouch, ooh, that's going to leave a mark. Okay, that's what it's covering. You ready? Watch this.
We're going to leave accident. We're going to go to the hospital plan. It's a green brochure. There are some changes on there for you. I want you to know what those are real quick. Those amounts in that policy are wrong, and I'm going to let you know what the right amounts are. The hospital plan is going to cover any reason you go in a hospital, sickness or accident, either way. But the benefits you see there, the admission shows you $250. That should read $300. Okay, so that you make a note of that. The hospital stay reads $150 for 6 months or 180 days. That should be $200 per day. And the intensive care reads $150, and it should read $200 per day. And that's good for 30 days, continuous days in ICU. And I can tell you, my wife was a manager of the ICU and the Med Center for years, and that's not a great place to be. As fast as she could get one out, there was always more waiting to come in. It's not a good place up there, but it's a very expensive place. I can tell you from getting the bills right now at the medical center, just to be in the room up there, in an intensive care room, is right around $1,200. That's with not anything hooked up to you at all. So here's what we're seeing, and here's why we stress this so much. Healthcare costs are going out the roof right now. I'll just tell you. I mean, if you've been watching anything at all, if you've been sick at all, you can see the bills just pour in, and everybody is high. These policies will not save your life, but they financially could really, really help you in a time when you'll really need it. That's what this is all about. But the hospital plan is a great plan, and it does cover sickness or accident, but that's the differences in the plan, and I want you to know what that was. Any questions on how it works, what it's designed to do on the hospital plan? So we've covered 3 policies already. We've covered critical illness, which covers all those major things that can affect your life. We've covered an accident policy that covers you 24 hours a day, on or off the job. And we've covered a hospital plan that protects you on a sickness or an accident, either way, in a hospital. And you can use those monies to help pay your deductibles, your out-of-pocket expense, whatever you need it for. That's what it's there for. Okay? Yes, and I'll cover that right. I'll just cover that now, Matt, real quickly on the policies. Let's also give you an idea of how long these policies. We know the critical illness at age 70 cuts in half. Okay? Somebody's ringing. Okay. Well, it's already happened to me. My little doorbell went off. So it cuts in half at 70. On the accident policy, at age 70, you no longer have it. That's it. The policy is good to age 70. The hospital plan we just talked about, it's good to age 70. At age 70, you no longer have it. Okay? Now, the last 2 policies, and Matt's going to quickly go over the benefits of those, and then we'll also talk about some waiting periods there on that. All right, Matt, you cover those last 2 products.
All right, now with the first 3, all the policies that we're going over stack on top of each other. So understanding what stacking means. Let's go back to those first 3. You have the critical illness, the accident, and the hospital policy. Let's go back to our car accident as an example. Such a great accident, okay? Car accident, you end up in the intensive care unit, so the accident policy pays. You were actually admitted in the hospital, so the hospital pays, and God forbid they found cancer when you were admitted. Okay, all 3 policies would pay. That's what stacking means. So you're covered on each of them. They don't just sit there and pull one out and say, oh, we're only going to pay this one. You have 3 policies. Those 3 policies pay for you. Make sense? Go like this. Got to wake up. Go, yeah, it makes perfect sense, Matt. All right, here we go. The other one in here has the maximum difference. It says MD and it has a little E on it. That's not like a Einstein thing. That's essentials. This is the maximum difference policy. Similar to the current policy that's out there now for those of you that have this. But it's similar. It's not the same replacement. How this works is real simple. If you were diagnosed with cancer, on the initial treatment of the internal cancer, AFLAC's paying you $1,000 just on that initial treatment of it. Then it's going to start paying in your chemotherapies, radiation treatments, and experimental treatments in that area. Now, if you're looking at that brochure, that 3rd column over, you're going to notice, just like on the old policies, it says none, 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 meaning there is no lifetime maximums. So God forbid if you have the policy, you were diagnosed with cancer, a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, you were diagnosed again, we're going to go back, just like all of our policies, and start paying all over again. The other thing about this policy also is at age 70, it stays there. It doesn't go away. It's not a true group as we refer to it as a policy. It's considered an individual policy. So you could have this until you can no longer make premium payments on it, meaning you're dead, okay? They also have in there egg harvesting, immunotherapy, anti-nausea, stem cell, bone marrow. Bone marrow is one of those things that's not a pleasant donation or a receiving of that. It's a $5,000 cash benefit paid to you, $500 of the donor. So it's kind of a thank you for going through that pain to do that for me. You also have the surgical and anesthesia and skin cancer. It's lunch, I'm telling you, sorry. Skin cancer is not covered on the first policy, the critical illness policy. Remember this. It is covered under this policy. It will pay anywhere between $25 to $300 on the diagnosis and removal of a skin cancer. If it comes back or another one occurs again, we're going to go back, remove it, and pay it again. Just over and over with skin cancer. Skin cancer is one of those things that does typically reoccur. Because as you know, I know my age and our generation, Mom and Dad told us to go outside and play. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're starting to pay for that now later on. You also have your hospital confinements, your outpatient therapies, extended care, home health care, hospice care, nursing services, ambulance, transportation, lodging. How this works is real simple. If you were diagnosed with cancer and you decided, I'm not going to hang around here, I want to go to MD Anderson in Texas, AFLAC will fly you out there, help offset your transportation lodging while you're there. Because your major medical is going to do what? Pay the hospital, pay the doctor, right? So that trip to Texas, you get to pay for it. So that's where AFLAC helps you to make the decisions you need and you want for the best of your health care, not with what the major medical dictates to you. You get to make the decisions in that case. And okay, there is on there also a mammogram benefit for you ladies. Guys, we usually don't go do that. But ladies, every year you go in and get your annual exams done, you get a mammogram, it's $70. So it's about 2 to 3 months of your premium money, again, given back to you every year just to go get something you're already typically doing. And we're not going to coordinate the benefits on it, so we don't care what your major medical pays, doesn't pay on it or not. We'll just fill out the form, send it to AFLAC, and we're going to do that. The last policy is the sickness policy. Now, similar kind of to the hospital policy, but it just covers in a little bit more detail of it. How this works is, now, you guys, because of the Tennessee Board of Regents, has decided that you will get a level 1. You have no other option but the level 1. What that means when you're looking at it, level 1, just for your visits to the doctor every year. So for whatever reason, if it's an individual, you're going to get paid $15 3 times a year. Or if it's a family, it's $15 6 times a year. Just for going in for, I needed a checkup, I needed whatever. Doesn't matter. You just send it into AFLAC, and next thing you know, you got a $15 check in the mail. I mean, it takes less than a week, literally. Where it really starts kicking in is if you're actually confined in the hospital. On a level 1, days 1 through 15, it pays $50 a day for those first 15 days. Days 16 through 180, it pays $100 per day, so it increases. Major diagnostic exams, which are your CT, MRI, EEGs, things like that, it's $150. Surgical benefit of $100 to $2,000, depending on the type of surgery that was performed. Rehabilitation unit, and there's an ambulance benefit in here as well. Any questions on these so far? I know you're all just deeply engrossed in this. Okay, a couple things as a reminder. 1, portable. 2, the cost stays the same no matter what. We are not changing the cost on you. So the cost, and we'll get you the rate sheet here in just a moment. When you see that, and a lot of these are age banded. Age banded means if we're all 18 to 29 in here, when we turn 30, it stays 18 to 39. AFLAC doesn't go back and say, oh, you're 30 now, we're going to raise that rate on that same policy. No, you bought at that age, that's the age it locks into, it's never going to change. Remember my 80-year-old friend coming in there. It's the same policy. It never went in and changed the rate onto it. Ready?
The enrollment form is on one page for the group critical illness, the accident, and the hospital plan. On the critical illness, there's only 3 questions. You will, even though it's a guaranteed issue, you will still answer those questions. On the accident policy, there's no health questions. On the hospital plan, you do not have to answer those questions either because it's a guaranteed issue. Okay? But now let's talk about waiting periods and some pre-existing because you need to fully understand this. Under the group critical illness, let's say that you hear this presentation today, you decide to come back Friday and enroll with us on that product. When you enroll Friday, that is your effective date, will be Friday when you enroll and sign that out. But you will have a 30-day waiting period. That means there's no benefits payable for that plan in the first 30 days of that policy. And your effective date is January the 1st. As you know, none of this starts till January 1 of this coming year. Okay? On the accident policy, the day that you sign up is the day you're covered. There is no waiting period. So if you sign up Friday, you're effective Friday, even though there's not been a dime taken out of your check until January. You're covered then. But let me say this, because this is real important. Let's say that you do that, and you sign up, and then you have a claim. Let's just use me. 2 weeks later, I sign up, 2 weeks later, I have a car wreck. And I'm in the hospital for a day or two from that. Okay. AFLAC is not going to be able to pay that claim until they collect their first premium from the schools. So even though we know we owe the claim, I can't get it paid, or we can't get it paid until probably early February. Just want you to know, because I didn't want you to think, gosh, it's taking this company forever to pay us. They can give you an effective date, they can cover you, but they can't pay you until after they've collected their first premium. Does everybody understand that? Okay. The hospital plan. You can sign up for it Friday, but you will have a 30-day waiting period on the group. It also has a 30-day waiting period. The individual cancer policy, it has a 30-day waiting period, but it's different. It's not the day you sign up. Its effective date is going to be January the 1st. And so its 30 days does not start till January. And it will be effective for you February 1 of 2012. The hospital sickness plan, 30-day waiting period, starts January the 1st, would be effective February the 1st. Now let's talk about pre-existing. On the critical illness, the pre-existing, as I mentioned, is 1 year. You're guaranteed to buy it, but if you've been treated for those major things already, you have a 1-year wait. After the 1-year wait, you're good. You have anything else like that, you've got coverage. The accident policy, there is no pre-existing. You don't know when an accident's going to happen to you, so there's nothing there for pre-existing. The hospital plan on the group has a 1-year pre-existing. Anything you've been treated for in the last year is not covered for the first year. Does everybody understand that? I'll give you an example. I'll just use me, as I always do. I all of a sudden get to hurting, and I go to the doctor, and he says, Les, you've got some kidney stone problems there. And so he diagnosed me with that right there, and I get okay, and I don't pass nothing, and 3 months later they bother me again, and they put me in the hospital, and that's happened to me. I know all about that. It's terrible. I wouldn't wish a kidney stone on nobody. But it happens to me again, but because I was treated for it 3 months prior to buying the policy, kidney stones would not be covered on me for what? 1 year. So even though that put me in the hospital 4 months later, I'm not covered then. But if it happens to me 14 months later, after I bought, I'm good. I've got coverage. Okay? Everybody understand pre-existing? Okay. There's no pre-existing, it's guaranteed issue on the individual cancer policy. And on the sickness policy, it does have pre-existing. It's anything you've been treated for in the last year is not covered for the first 6 months. It doesn't go a whole year, but only 6 months. Okay, has everybody got that? I know we're throwing a whole lot at you in a short period of time, but just try to take it all in. We're not here to overload you in insurance. You know, I've done this a long time. I understand that health insurance is high today. When you add dental with it and vision and other things, insurance is high. But I can tell you right now, the hospitals and doctors are not going to get any cheaper, folks. Take it from somebody that knows. I can guarantee you that. This is not going to get any better. So if a serious illness comes, and these are serious things, if it comes upon you, we want to be able to financially help you. And I can tell you right now, you're going to need every dime that we can pay you. I mean, that's just the real world. I don't know any other way to say it. You know. So just please keep this in mind as you look this over, because if you're very young right now, you can buy these policies for hardly nothing. And always keep them at that rate. And to me, that is so important. Because remember, we don't live forever down here. Eventually, these old bodies we're housed in, they begin to break down. So just remember that as you're thinking about this. You have the rates now, and you'll see the rates there. And again, remember, here's one other thing. Let's say that you smoke, and your wife does not. You will quote the smoker rate. She will quote the non-smoker rate. Okay, as you look at that, because there's two sets of rates there on critical illness. And the same vice, let's say that maybe you don't, but a husband does or a wife does. That's the way you look at it, okay? So you can save some right there. And also, let's say that you buy and you are 42 and your wife is 38. Well, again, when you're getting her rate for the half premium, her rate falls down in the 30 to 39-year-old rate. She gets a cheaper rate. So you'll save monies there too. If the spouse is in a cheaper rate, you'll save more money there. Okay? Any questions so far about what we've went over here? Yes. All the waiting periods are in there. But again, do change that hospital plan. What you're seeing is wrong. Remember the 300, 200, and 200, okay? And the rate you've got gives you all the rates for your entire family. The employee and the spouse can get 5? Okay, 5 and 5. But now the spouse can only get half. Well, I tell you what, we'll get that clarified. I thought it had to be 10 and 5, but if it may be 5 and 5. Maybe they can just get 5. But we'll get that clarified for you. Any more questions you can think of? Well, the spouse should get 10, or the employee 10, and the spouse 5.
Yeah, the columns don't line up right. It's half.
But it's always half. Let's say even the employee buys 20, the spouse can get 10. Or let's say that the employee buys 15, the spouse can get 7,500.
So it's based on the spouses, each on your individual ages.
And also remember, if you keep your old cancer policy, you can still buy the group critical illness and cover the other major things. Because remember, your cancer policy right now only covers cancer. It does not cover heart attacks and strokes and all those other things we've talked about. What we're trying to do is get you a policy that will cover a lot of major life-changing things that can affect you financially, and you be covered under them. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Any more questions? You had a question? No, the critical illness, you keep it. It only cuts in half at 70. Yeah, the accident in the hospital on the group is what goes away. All the other products you can keep. We're going to be back, if nobody makes, Brandon just mentions one other thing, and I've got to let you know this. There's a third-party administrator of this plan, okay? So whatever that you buy, let's say that you, and I did the math a while ago, let's say that you've bought $40 worth of benefits from us, okay, through AFLAC. You're going to be charged a 6% on top of that $40. That's for the third-party administrator who sets all this up for us and helps us with our deductions and all of that. That's part of your school system. That's just what's been put in there. And I did the math on that. $40 is going to cost you $2.40 more. And that's just added to your $40, and so the total deduction then would be $42.40. Yes. And they'd already enrolled Walter. We've already enrolled several colleges. Walter State's done been enrolled. And we talked to the managers there. They said it went fine. Nobody had a problem with it, not what little bit of money that it was. So, but we do have to let you know that that is in there. And we'll figure that on the PDA card that we complete for you. You'll decide what you want. We'll figure out your card, and we'll add that 6% on that, and you'll know exactly what's going to come out of your check. It's based off of a monthly, one time a month pay. So if that's how you're paid, that's how it's going to come out. And I'm assuming everybody's paid monthly, am I right? Okay. All right. Can you think of any other questions? Anybody at all? Because we're here to make sure you understand what you're doing here. We're going to be back, what, Friday?
Friday.
And
at the library, and then also on Monday, and if we need to have some extra days in there, we'll let Mary know, and she can get that dispersed out to you guys. Thank you for your time. Any questions, please jot those down and bring them up to us, or if you got a few minutes and you have a question now, you're more than welcome to come talk to us. Thank you, guys.
And if you think of anybody that maybe didn't attend our meetings that you might know, you might want to get this information to them, please let us know, and we'll make sure that we get them some information on this, because this is important. Thank you.